tight-knit and rolling through this map. They're fairly looted up at this point too, Jacob. It just looks like Surge is all theirs to control.
Yeah, you can kind of see the crash pads, no audio. Razzle didn't even hear or see it coming further and further towards the northeast. And this is where in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, on that side of the map, Taco, there's mountain ranges, there's dips, there's dives, there's so many different things in terms of elevation. Teams better be prepared.
And look, game one definitely did not pan out the way that Acorn, Pollo, and Ajerss would have normally anticipated, or anybody honestly in this audience would have expected them to do. But with so much surge damage already online, Jacob, this dead side rotate is absolutely perfect. They don't have to worry about encountering any of the clusters that might be starting to build on the edge of zone. The real thing that they're gonna is their oyster right now.
From 11 to 13, big numbers in game two. Ajerss Pollo trying to do the same thing, but they just run into speed bump after speed bump. Bolts gets the elimination. Active Storm Surge on to Ajerss. He does have some heals, but he needs to start figuring out where he's going to get the damage from as a solo. You see in the numbers just kind of tip and top, up and down, 30 to 20. He's trying to figure it out, but every 7 seconds, 25 damage. He lands just a chip shot, but it's enough to get above the damage threshold. But as soon as he starts to try to rotate in, High Ground just focuses him and beans him down to 58 HP.
Exactly what you'd expect to see from Hype, but Ajerss still found this little pocket, this little bubble, a breathing room, that is, until the surge damage starts to tick away at his life again. Ajerss just trying to see if he could come up with anything. Sure, they managed to dip a little bit into the
south, a little bit further from where they're at. They say, hey, we got to focus on this. Ajerss, Acorn, Pollo. This time around, they're getting to play their side of the overall map. We're seeing it pulling towards the south, but Demon's Debris kind of just on the outskirts inside of the zone. So they're watching and seeing every team that rotates on over from that mountain. You got to think Alex and Nam reside there towards the south of that mountain. Coyote, Rise, Yuma direction. They could probably try to get the wipe. But on high ground, we're finally getting that peak. Pollo, Ajerss, and Acorn, but they're 69 damage below the threshold, which is surprising because we're at the Kappa factory towards the south side of the map. They have been granted the zone majority of this game, but just unable to really find the shots to put it to use, and they're falling further and further below.
They've got to be real careful here. Team sitting inside the building, and Ajerss just doesn't care. Mountain gonna be immediately eliminated. Just a max pop shot. Pollo now looking to follow suit here. They are feeling so confident. They know they got Goofy locked in their sights, and Ajerss finds the next. Gonna say they might need to be wary of Mr. Savage's team, but instead it's gonna be secondary height as the focal point. They're just getting sprayed out though. Their builds not being allowed to fully lock through. Yuma, Rise across the way, but no! We thought those 2 eliminations that Ajerss just secured would be enough, but the surge threshold, they just climbed to such a high level, Jacob. They're still sitting 99 below, even with 3 eliminations. Finally, they're gonna tick over into just 3 above, but it's still not enough. They can't find a footing until they get more surge.
They are just burning through materials. Even with that elimination on the Rise, they are not gonna be able to get a lot of that loot. It's gonna go to the wayside, and now they have to worry about their rotation, feeding them the punch. Art Skull and Salco, they might be below the damage threshold, but Pollo, Ajerss, Acorn focusing on this rotation because they know it's not going to get easier. In fact, only 7 builds onto Ajerss. It's going to get harder and harder unless they find that key.
Snowy Ryu, though, doing a great job holding him, and Pollo stuck in the same boot.
It's not good for Braids and Visuals. They're going to get eliminated, but Pollo is going to get dropped. Ajerss still taking a lot of damage. They're trying to use the crash pad to get out, but just stuck inside.
Payson, definitely a massive threat if they are not careful, but Pollo, Ajerss, Acorn, finally witnessing them be above that third threshold, and not just that, but 1,400 plus above, Jacob. It's got to be such a huge relief.
Yeah, to start the day, this is honestly the position I thought I would see this team in game after game after game, especially in game 3, where the zone favored over towards their drop spot. They were just
seeing how consistent they could be, but until they find a way to replicate that game 1 performance, things are going to continue to get more and more difficult as everybody starts to find a better grasp, a better idea of where they want to go, to try and find any little bit of placement points to put them inside of a better position. Damage, and even with a successful reboot, hold that thought though, Pollo finally seeming to get a nice elimination here. Antes did such an excellent job at just pushing them fully back. That is a huge come up here as Ajerss now forced to try and see.
I feel like this is the team right here. Pollo, Ajerss, and Acorn. 10th place after day number 1, and I feel like the majority of the community had this team in their top 5, in their top 3, possibly winning the entire...
That's why we see a little bit of reservation there from iDrop, Cammy, and Hottie. They know what kind of position they're currently holding, but by the end of it, we started to see that little bit of a bounce back factor, Jacob, and now with the whole night to actually hit the VODs, I'm so certain that Acorn has definitely cooked up something.
Yeah, and they were the team on high ground, but it got stolen away. Up goes Acorn! They're ready to battle it out! M8 versus M8 as Pollo's ready to take on the competition, but towards the backside of zone, they chop it all down. Queasy, he saw that one coming from a mile away.
That's exactly why they had Mustachely. Everybody's been chopped up. They're all falling down. Ajerss has been eliminated. Pollo and Acorn.
Team with such little experience, but you could never tell from watching them in the lobby. Set game plan, set to make their mark on this lobby, but there is still plenty to do. Acorn and Ajerss have plenty to do here.
To qualify for this global championship, being able to go back last night, VOD review, and really figure out what was going wrong. You're seeing a more aggressive pace coming out from some of these teams. Not exactly every step of the way, but when they get a key knock, when they get some good damage, they're now starting to play more and more aggressive, and most importantly so, more and more teams, just like Pollo, Ajerss, and Acorn that we see here, are willing to contest.
Just gotta let it sit and appreciate it after all, but Pollo, Gentlemates, they can hear everything surrounding them, but Pollo, he's gonna look to try and close in on the surge base. Again, desperation factoring in, heavily 500 below. They've got to get damage online. They've got to do it ASAP before they find themselves being taken out of this lobby entirely. Pollo, Ajerss scrambling, but it's not enough.
Already on the IGL, leaving Ajerss and Pollo on the back foot. And it's not only that team they have to worry about. If you look at the minimap, the north, the south, even the east has third-party potential written all over.
Players on leaderboard getting eliminated early on, and Pollo, Ajerss, Acorn, well, they're still looking to try and break into that in the first place. Ajerss gonna find the first elimination. Gentlemates letting everyone know just how much they support seeing Pollo prosper as he continues trying to apply damage, trying to apply pressure. Alex nowhere left to run, just getting shot at.
One of the biggest thorns in their side. They kind of thought they would have multiple teams in the distance from Demon's Debris that were building surge towers to trade shots with, but they're getting pushed. They're forced on a roulette drop spot and having to force and fight just like this. So a huge change in the game plan coming into the weekend, but Pollo's not going to slow down. He doesn't want to stop or be denied this opportunity. Acorn picks up that elimination on the resides. OCE is out of this lobby in Game 10, and that's continuing to build.
There from Ox Malabuka and Ping. Of course you're going to eat some damage in exchange.
Pollo, Ajerss, and Acorn. Not only did they get their Demon Debris Medallion, the mythic weapon, they got the eliminations onto Anon, Resign, and Alex. They immediately moved towards the eastern side of the map. One of the only teams on this side of the map having access to that bunker, and they immediately take it. And this is where they start to work. We saw kind of get chopped earlier on in this game, but as we tune in, Ajerss feeling a little bit of struggle. That's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual on the other side. They have to abandon ship in terms of getting Ajerss back into the game. So Pollo, Acorn, NA champs, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, and they're looking to get aggressive. There's only one way back into this game, and it's through eliminations itself.
This is starting to feel like Major threw a chunk of his shield. He's going to retreat back towards the high ground. Pollo, Ajerss, side by side.
Again, especially since they have a deficit that they have on the leaderboard, 14th place versus 18th. You'd expect both of these teams to try to make some sort of a play, but they also know this is the two teams we've been seeing all year long essentially battle it out for 1 and 2 in terms of actual top spots and grand finals leaderboards, but in terms of the community as well.
But Pollo and Peterbot, Jacob, they were just global champions. They did that together. And now, here today, both of them going on huge recovery tours just to try and bring themselves back. He's lost his IGL, he's lost his other fragger. It's Pollo who's taken out his fellow gentlemate. Swizzy eliminated. Ajerss gonna come at a cost, but the double revive, they might be able to pull it off. They're gonna drop all the way down to the bottom of the mountain face, but it was just too far. They weren't intending to stand themselves directly outside, but the zone pool is saving them.
Yeah, the zone pool is truly a blessing for Ajerss, Acorn, and Pollo. Yeah, they're chasing right now. Ajerss, Acorn, and Pollo. They see Mixon outside by himself. They're trying to clean up that elimination. Upfull is going to go down as well. No more knocks coming into play, which means that full team is down and out of this lobby. The aggressive plays coming late into the day here on day 2 for Ajerss, Acorn,
Pollo's
and Pollo.
already been claimed. Acorn, Ajerss just trying to create a little bit of space, but they know this might be a fight that they can't avoid any longer.